During its annual MLK Week celebration, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and the community came together at North Central College to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. The week began with the Chicago Sinfonietta performing their annual tribute to Dr. King, but this year featured something a little different. The Sinfonietta paid tribute to Dr. King with a performance of Mountaintop, a thought-provoking multimedia piece from Dutch avant-garde classical composer Jacob TV. He blended vocals, percussion, and audio from King's final speech.
I would like to live a long life.
King was assassinated the next day. This was the first time Mountaintop was performed in the United States and was only the second performance in the world. The week continued with the annual student-organized Martin Luther King Jr. prayer breakfast.
It's just a time for us to get together and kind of pay homage to him.
The theme for this year's MLK Week celebration was the power of words, and keynote speaker Neangela Marshall took that theme to heart.
When we use our own words to stand up for our own selves, the greatest outcome is not always that we change the minds of those who are against us, but that we remind ourselves of our purpose and we renew our strength to keep fighting for what is right.
Marshall also cautioned against keeping silent when confronted with adversity and encouraged students to use their words.
When we use our words, we crush the silence of complacency. We crush the silence of apathy and evil and injustice.
If you're quiet, it's just as if you're taking part. You're not saying anything against it, it's like you're for it. And if you're definitely against something that is totally wrong, you should say something. You shouldn't stand there and just let it happen. You should definitely get out there and speak your mind.
The legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has intertwined with North Central College often over the years. In 1960, King was welcomed on campus and spoke to students in Pfeiffer Hall. 5 years later, 40 North Central students marched in Selma, Alabama, and in 1966, the college campus ministry organization was part of the religious and civil rights groups that invited Dr. King to Chicago. Dr. King's time in Chicago was on display in the Show and Her gallery. The exhibit, The Chicago Freedom Movement Photography, is a small but revealing snapshot of Dr. King's visit and marches in Chicago. The keynote speaker for MLK Week was Common, a Grammy Award-winning hip-hop artist, actor, and author who spoke about greatness.
Greatness doesn't have like a prejudice to it. You don't have to be poor to want to strive for greatness. You don't have to be a certain color. You don't have to be a certain religion. Greatness is a universal theme, and it's a universal dream in many ways.
The power of words goes beyond giving speeches. 3 North Central College professors and a Chicago-based hip-hop artist held a panel discussion to talk about music as a means of protest. Panelists were English professor Richard Guzman, assistant professor of music Jonathan Kirk, political science professor Stephen Maynard Caliendo, and artist and community activist FM Supreme. Each of the panelists were given the opportunity to share a little bit about musicians who they felt use music as a way to instigate for social change. FM Supreme spoke about Public Enemy, Caliendo, The Clash, Guzman, Ray Charles, and Kirk, Nina Simone.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
The panelists then answered questions from the audience. The panel finished with a performance from FM Supreme.
When I say Martin Luther, Lord say King. Martin Luther, Martin Luther.
With its annual week-long celebration, North Central College remembers and encourages the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to continue.
Dr. King's message was definitely about love and forgiveness and unity and oneness.
We have so many students of different cultures and different backgrounds, and I feel like Martin Luther King spoke to kind of being one, and I feel like North Central does a great job of bringing diversity here and making sure students feel that they're at one with the college, no matter what color or racial background or religion you are. It's just kind of about being one.